Stuart. How are you doing?
All good, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. So last week when we were chatting to Felipe, one of the things that came up obviously was that the fact that Leinster only had one pre-season game under their belt coming into the season this year. So with that in mind, I imagine you must have been very pleased with not just the result against the Bulls, but the overall performance as well.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the pre-season game was a good one for us. You know, English champions coming to the Aviva. I think they were only missing like Joe Mara and Marcus Smith, and I think we were missing 15 or so. So to get that performance under the belt was good. He's right in that we were a bit nervous about being undercooked, particularly playing against a team that have played non-stop for the last 6 or 7 months. Currie Cup champions. They were scoring or have scored an average of 40 points a game for the last 6 games. So, and they've got Jake White as coach. They've just had Bismarck du Plessis. They've got Marcel Cossier as the captain. A really serious outfit. So to beat them 31-3 and keep them to 3 was really pleasing. And I think people maybe don't appreciate how strong a team Bulls are going to be and how hard they're going to be to beat. So to play them first up and get that result, we were really pleased.
And you say you were maybe a little bit nervous going into it about just the lack of game time, but was the fact that you had the likes of Johnny Sexton, James Ryan, Andrew Porter, Gary Ringrose, a lot of those experienced internationals available, where normally you wouldn't at this stage of the season. Did that kind of help ease things a little bit?
Yeah, but only because they've had a good pre-season themselves. So obviously they had a decent break from the summer series. Johnny obviously didn't play in the summer series, so he was straight back to pre-season. So we'd had a good 5-6 weeks with him. So we were pretty confident, and we back our training methods and our training regime to get them ready. But you never really know is the answer. I was pleased with how the Quins game went. I was pleased with how the Bulls game went, but I still felt we had opportunities that we left out there that we could have taken. And it's a start. That's all it is. It's we end of September and we're talking about finals rugby in June. So there's a long way to go.
And lastly for me then, you mentioned how you've had Johnny all summer, that he wasn't involved with Ireland and he's had a big pre-season behind him. How important has that been for not just himself but even the younger players in the squad to be able to be around someone like Johnny Sexton with his experience over the course of a full pre-season?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's it's invaluable, really. I mean, it's you can't put a price on learning from a player like Johnny. Really, it's very hard to replicate that as a coach. I mean, Johnny would hold them to account, and if standards were high enough, he definitely does that. So there's a standard that he sets, an expectation that means that the young players learn what that level is, but also they learn the subtlety of his game and the ability of him to manipulate defenders and create space and his vision and be able to see things early. So you can talk to players about that, but unless you've seen it firsthand, it's very hard to coach. So it's been invaluable for me, really. I mean, I'll give you an example. My son has just signed at Leicester, so he's with George Ford as he's a 10 and 10-12, and every day he's coming back saying, "Oh, George taught me this," or "I learnt this from George." And it's the same with our lads. When you've got the likes of Johnny in there, like I say, I think when we look back in a few years' time, it'll have been one of the best pre-seasons ever that they've had, but also I think that he's had, because he's been able to really commit to training full time, get his body in good shape, and I think you can see it in his performances.
Thanks, Stuart.
Hi Stuart, Sinead here on Virgin Media News. Congratulations on your son, actually. I saw the picture of you over there in Twickenham with them. I'm sure though you are planning at the same time though succession planning, Stuart. So, look, Johnny might be on for another season after this, but is that something you're very conscious of now this season? I know Harry Byrne is on his way back from injury, but is succession planning at 10 something you're quite conscious of?
Yeah, in every position. I think, Leinster's model is very much based on younger players coming through and putting pressure on senior players. And, if you're a player at Leinster, you want to be looking ahead to try and get picked in the team, but also you want to keep a close eye behind yourself because there's some talent coming through, whether it's Harry behind Ross and Johnny at the moment, or whether it's Jamie Osborne coming through, or we've got Rob Russell and Max O'Reilly and all sorts of younger players, Ryan Baird coming through, you know, so it's across the board really. It's Leinster's model, I think, that makes it its ultimate strength. In terms of the 10 position, I think, you know, I would hold Harry and Ross and Johnny in the highest regard. You know, they're as good as I've coached all three of them, really. And Harry only trained for the first time today, having a really an extended injury, which has been frustrating for him, but he's going to train part of the session tomorrow, and then he's really back in the mix for selection. I think when that happens, we've got the ability and the capacity to rotate the squad to allow all three of them opportunities. And obviously it'll be up to Andy Farrell to select his squad for November. But from our point of view, you know, we want to see the season as the long game for the season, you know, because, as I say, if you're going on an island tour to New Zealand, you're not finishing until the end of July. You know, we're in September now. So we need to be mindful of looking after all of them. The same could be said in any position. You know, you've got Max Deegan coming back, and he's got Caelan Doris and Jack Conan at number 8 as well. So, you know, that'll be the nature of our squad. And part of, I think, what we do well is we do rotate and try and give lads opportunities both in training and in games, and they'll definitely get that.
And just on the injuries, so Caelan Doris, how serious do you reckon that would be? And when do you think Jordan Larmour will be back as well?
So Caelan's, we're not too concerned about the seriousness of it. It'll keep him out this weekend, but nothing long term, we don't think. And Jordan, very pleasingly, is back on hopefully later this week into training. So again, you know, we've just got Jimmy O'Brien back today, who's been excellent for us. Obviously, Kieran Frawley came back and played. Dave Carney's making great progress. Tommy O'Brien's making great progress. So it's competitive, Sinead. It's very competitive.
Okay, thanks, Stuart. Thank you.
Stuart, it's Don on audio only. A lot of high praise from the Bulls coach that Leinster are the elite of Europe in the Northern Hemisphere, as the Crusaders are in the Southern Hemisphere. Do you accept that label?
Well, it's nice to be compared to them, but no, I think that until you've won consistently at the highest level and you win every year, then it's very hard to proclaim yourself. It's the last thing we would do as a club, is proclaim ourselves as the kings of Europe by any stretch of imagination. You know, we've won the European Cup once in my time here, and that's 5 years. So there's a lot more we need to do to get better. But I was pleased that we put in the performance we did against what we considered a really quality side, and I think Jake's a very experienced coach. He's been around a lot at international level and at club level, and it's nice to be recognised that he holds us in high regard. We work hard. We like to try and keep our feet on the ground, and we know nothing comes easy. So it was nice to hear that, but at the end of the day, it's one game, and we need to back it up this weekend in Dragons, because I know Dean Ryan well, and I know how fired up he'll be about getting his Dragons team ready, particularly having lost against Ospreys this weekend. So that's all our focus is, really, you know, the next job, and keep getting better.
The new United Rugby Championship will come of age when all of the Springboks return. But equally, Leinster have the Leinster return. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're probably doing a disservice to a Bismarck Duplessis or a John Goosen or a Matzel Coetzee or these guys. You know, these are good players playing at the moment, and I think it's credit not just to ourselves for a good win. You know, Munster had a good win, Treviso. You know, so I think people underestimate the quality sometimes in the league, and maybe downplay the quality of the opposition. I think for me, having watched, you know, a lot of games this weekend, a lot of English Premiership games, I'd still maintain there's a lot of quality here in the United Rugby Championship, and it'll be a hell of a competition this year, particularly when there's less clashes with the international programme. So there's definitely going to be more international quality players being available for both our teams and the South African teams as the season progresses.
Thanks, Stuart.
Okay, is that everyone there?
Hi, Stuart.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, can I ask a question? Yeah, hi, Stuart. Jerry Corey, Dublin City FM. I'm just wondering, in terms of the physicality that maybe the South African teams bring to the United Rugby Championship, is okay? The game, was a good win for Leinster, 31-3. But is that something that changes the focus when you're in the game?
Yeah, I think when you get into Europe and you get into the top ends of the club game, the size and the speed of the players and athleticism increases, and as a consequence, your decision-making time gets reduced, and it's harder to execute the skills under pressure. So to play a side like the Bulls is really good preparation, we feel, for playing those big South African teams who are maybe more territory-based, than they would be possession-based. So it is good preparation. I think going to South Africa as well is good for the players because you get used to playing away from home in hostile environments. We're lucky. We played the Bulls early on a decent day at the Aviva. You could end up going to the Bulls in Pretoria at altitude, playing against them in 80 degrees Fahrenheit later in the year, which, trust me, having been there with England, is unbelievably difficult to do. So I think that the advantages of having teams like that in the competition is good for us. I definitely think it helps us prepare for further challenges down the line.